What's going on, everybody? It's Rohan and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be going through my predictions for the UEFA Champions League Round of 16. And yeah, we're just going to be talking about all the matchups and, if I see any upsets happening or not. And yeah, we're just going to be talking about also the current form of teams and things like that. So yeah, let's get straight into the predictions. Okay, I guess we'll get started off with the first, fixture, which is Liverpool versus RB Leipzig. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup. I think when it was first announced, I think people did also consider it an interesting matchup, but I think a lot of people were kind of predicting Liverpool to go through because they were in pretty good form by then. And I'm a Liverpool fan, for those of you who don't know, and I'll be the first to tell you, we're kind of down bad right now, I'm not going to lie. We're in some terrible form. If you look at the past 5 games, you'll see that we won 2. And I believe those were the Tottenham and West Ham games, and then we've lost the past 3 games, so not great. I think we lost to Brighton, Man City, and I think most recently Leicester City, so we're in some pretty terrible shape, and obviously we've been dealing with a lot of injuries to Van Dijk, Matip, Gomez, Jota, Naby Keita, just a lot of players, to be honest. We've been going through definitely a rough patch, I'd say. So that has not been helpful at all in our team's success. So somehow we're still sitting at 4th. I really don't know how. I'm really surprised we're still sitting at 4th, but yeah, we're kind of in a free fall right now, and we have been since the beginning of December. We've been putting together some pretty awful performances. So yeah, it's not going too well, and obviously considering the fact that the first leg is in 2 days from now, I think at the Ferencváros Stadium in Hungary. I don't see it going very well. If we look at Leipzig, they're second in Bundesliga, which is pretty good for them, to be honest. They're 44 points, only 4 points behind Bayern. They lost 1. Okay, so actually, looking at their past 5 games, they won a game, they lost a game, and then they've won the past 3. So they're in pretty good form right now. Although I must say Bayern does have a match in hand over them, but still, they're in really good form. It seems like they're playing really well. One piece of news that did actually come out, I think today or yesterday, just looking at the Bayern's Twitter 7 hours ago, at least on the English page, they just said that Bayern have agreed to sign Dayot Upamecano from the 1st of July 2021. So actually, that's not really going to make any difference for this game because he's not leaving yet. But yeah, obviously one of their most promising defenders is leaving, but that's fine. That's it doesn't really affect this. I just wanted to talk about kind of recently what's been going on with them. I'm not going to know too much about Leipzig because I don't really follow them that much, but I do know it seems like they're having a pretty good season and they're doing pretty well. So I'm going to be perfectly honest. It pains me to say this, but I think Leipzig are going to win. I feel like in previous years, Liverpool's home advantage has been a big, obviously a big factor in our ability to advance through the knockout stages, as we saw in that game against Barcelona at Anfield, where we had that comeback. That type of thing is very important, I think, and without the fans at the stadium, and on top of that, I was gonna say, I guess the first leg is gonna be played in Hungary. So to be fair, Leipzig don't really get a home game, I guess. So maybe that could kind of affect it, but I don't really see it doing too much to the game. I feel like as long as there's no fans, it's not really going to make that big of a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Leipzig are going to advance past this. I think Liverpool are in a really bad state right now. I just don't think they have enough time to fix it up. Even players like Alisson, who's probably one of our most consistent players and has saved us so many times, has had some really bad games in the past few fixtures. I just don't see this team doing very well. And then obviously you have players like Ozan Kabak, who just recently signed on a loan deal. Not really had the time to adjust, I think. I think the fact that we signed him at the end of the January transfer window really screwed us over because he hasn't really had the time to adapt. And then obviously his first game starting being a loss to Leicester is just not a good thing for his confidence. And I just don't see I just don't see this team advancing. I'm going to be honest. I don't see my team advancing. As sad as it is to say, I think this season is kind of a lost cause, to be honest. Whether that's FA Cup, the league, Champions League, I just don't see us having the ability to get past. So I'm going to predict RB Leipzig for this round. Okay, so the next matchup is going to be probably, in my opinion, maybe the most interesting matchup. I'm not 100% sure, but it's going to be Barcelona versus PSG. So this is a really interesting matchup because obviously I'm pretty sure the last time these two met in the UCL knockout stages, there was that one match, La Remontada. I think it was 6-1 Barcelona or something like that crazy comeback. So obviously there's a little bit of like history between the two teams, and then obviously Neymar signing with PSG and leaving Barcelona was a big thing, and then obviously the rumors of Messi going to PSG after the season. There's a whole lot of back and forth between these two teams in terms of like rumors and stuff. So we always thought it would be a very interesting matchup. Obviously two giants in terms of brand, so that's obviously big as well. But I wanted to go through the injury list for this team, for both teams actually. I realized this is probably something I should look at. So I'm here on Transfer Market. I'm gonna look through the injuries and maybe talk a little bit about them. So obviously Ansu Fati has been out since November 8th apparently, and he's not expected to return for a while. So that's a big miss for Barca. Piqué has been out. Although it says here his expected return is February 22nd, I think I did hear reports that they're trying to see if Piqué can come in for this game. I don't know I just feel like pushing it is not the best idea, but you know what? If they want to try and make it happen, they can try and make it happen. So he may or may not be expected to come back. We're not 100% sure yet. Coutinho seems to be out as well with a rupture of outer meniscus, and he's not expected to return until next month. Sergio Roberto has a muscle injury. He's not expected to return until next month. Sorry, keep stumbling over my words. Ronald Araujo is expected to return March 8th. He injured himself, I think, 6 days ago. He's expected to return March 8th with it. He has a sprained ankle. I know Araujo is actually a really big piece of Barca and their defense. So I have heard reports that they're trying to get him to come back, him and Piqué, and see if they're fit enough to play the match. I just don't see it happening, to be honest. Considering it's not even been a full week since by the time the match starts, it will have been like maybe a little over a week since he sprained his ankle. I just don't see that timeline working at all. I just don't think that makes any sense. I don't think it's happening. And then Braithwaite with a hamstring injury, and I guess they don't really know his expected return date. So quite a few injuries for this team, and that could definitely hold them back. Definitely in the defensive side of things, of course. That can definitely be a big issue. They're missing quite a few players. But if you look at Barca's recent form, they've been doing really well. They've won their last 5 matches, the most recent one being an absolute thrashing of Deportivo Alavés. Messi seems to be fitting with the team now. I feel like things are gelling at this point. So that's a really good sign. Messi's kind of getting back into the groove of things. He seems interested now. I think he's starting to believe that they can kind of do something with this team. Right now, they're sitting 3rd in La Liga, 8 points behind Atletico Madrid. But Atletico Madrid have a game in hand, and they're also sitting 3 points behind Real Madrid, but Barca actually has a game in hand compared to Real Madrid. So if Barca win their next game, they can be tied for 2nd in La Liga. So that's very important. I think they're really starting to turn things around and get really good and string some results together. So they're in pretty good form, I'd say. And then also looking at the PSG injury list, this was a big thing that I don't know. I really did not want to see happen, but it's happened. Neymar is injured. Neymar was injured 3 days ago in a game. His expected to return is next month. So there's pretty high probability that he's not going to play either match against Barcelona, which is a big miss for PSG, and also just for the viewers a big miss, because we would have loved to see Neymar versus Messi, that type of thing. That really would have been great to see, and having that out, that injury and having him out is really just, I think, a really big blow to PSG. And I think the hype around this match. So going through the rest of them, Juan Bernat is not expected to come back until next month. I'm pretty sure he's been injured the whole season. He was pretty good in their UCL run last season, so that, again, a big miss for them. Timothée Pembele, I don't think he's going to be that big of a deal. I don't think he's really used at all. He has corona, so yeah, whatever, I guess. And then Colin Dagba, thigh problems, apparently. He'll be back in 3 days, whatever. It is what it is. I don't think that's a big issue or anything. And then Angel Di Maria also has thigh problems. They don't know his return date, though. I don't think it'll be that long of an absence, but it could be, possibly. I also heard something about Marco Verratti being, I don't know. I heard something about him possibly missing the match. Maybe I misread that headline, but something like that. So, again, PSG are dealing with some pretty big injuries as well. It's hard to really gauge which team is going to come out of this, because I feel like obviously Barcelona is in really good form. I guess we'll talk about PSG's form as well. They won a match, lost a match, and then they've won the past 3. They're sitting second in Ligue 1. 1 point behind Lille. Same amount of matches played. Obviously, they do have their new manager, Maurizio Pochettino, taking over the team, and they seem to be doing pretty well, or decently at least. So they're in decent form, I'd say, pretty good form. This is a really, really tough matchup to gauge, especially with Neymar out. I find it really difficult to figure out what's going to happen here, especially with Mbappe. I find it hard to believe in Mbappe. I want to believe that he can turn it around for his team, but I just don't know. Especially his performance in the UCL final last year. He just didn't really show up. He felt kind of absent, so I just feel like maybe with the absence of Neymar, that'll also affect his performance in this match. I think it's really hard to gauge like what the deal is with these two teams. I feel like at this point they're pretty even on like where they're at in terms of form. I'm tempted to say Barcelona because they're in better form, and obviously you have Messi. But at the same time, their defense is kind of bad right now. But PSG has lost a few players in their attack, of course. I'm just really not sure where to predict. I feel like this could go either way, to be honest. I'm not sure, man. I'm gonna take the safe answer, and I'm gonna say PSG. Even though I think they're pretty evenly matched, I'm going to say PSG is going to win pretty narrowly, just because I feel like their team is just a little bit more experienced than Barca's at this point in time. And I'm just not really confident that Barca's defenders will be back from injury in time. And I think that's a really big issue for them. So I'm going to go ahead and say PSG because I think that's the safe answer, but I think I can see either team winning this matchup, to be honest. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Barca versus PSG. Okay, so we're going to be talking about this next matchup, which I think when it was announced seemed like a pretty close fixture, but I don't know. I think now, based on recent form of the teams, is pretty one-sided, and that's Sevilla versus Dortmund. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about Sevilla first. So their form in La Liga has been pretty good. They've won their last 5 matches as well. They're 1 point behind Barcelona on the same amount of matches played. So they've been playing really well. Obviously, they just signed Papu Gomez from Atalanta, and he's a really, really good player. And I saw he did score that really good goal. So he seems to be integrating pretty well, I think, to the team. So that's a major addition for them, I think. They were already a pretty good team, but this, I think, might elevate them to the next level, having a player like him, for sure. Looking at their injury list, they are missing 2 pretty important players, though. Marcos Acuna and Lucas Ocampos. Pretty important players. I don't know. I'm not seeing their expected return here, so I'm going to assume that neither of them are going to be present for this match. And I know especially Acuna is a very good player, and as well as Ocampos. They're good, really good pieces for this team. So missing both of them is going to be pretty crucial, I think, in the performance of the team in this match. But looking at their current form, I just feel like they've been doing pretty well without them as well. Even though Ocampos just got injured like maybe a week ago. I think with Papu Gomez on the team as well, I just feel like they're doing really well, and they just have a lot of momentum on their side. So I just feel like they're a really good team. And I believe they did win last year's Europa League, if I'm not mistaken, I think. So they've shown that they can, advance far in knockout tournaments and that type of thing. So they've shown that they have the ability to kind of, play well in these knockout matches. So I think they're a really strong team coming in here, and I think pretty underrated team probably to win, pretty underrated in terms of like how people view them, because I think they really could make a pretty deep run in this tournament. Okay, so now talking about Borussia Dortmund, pretty terrible form, I'm not going to lie. They're sitting at 33 points, which is 15 off of Bayern at the top. And Bayern have one game in hand compared to all these guys. Their form has been pretty bad. They lost 2, won 1, lost another one, and in their most recent match, they drew. Okay, and I think they did also fire their manager recently, so I think they have an interim manager, I think, possibly. So that obviously doesn't help either. They've been kind of not doing very well. They've been in pretty bad form these recent months. Also looking at their injury list, we're looking at Marcel Schmelzer, I think, Axel Witsel, Dan Axel Zagadou, I think that's how you say his name, then Roman Bürki. All 4 of them out. I'm not seeing any expected return dates. So Marcel Schmelzer seems to be out for the season. I don't think they're going to miss him too much. Axel Witsel seems like a pretty consistently good player for them, so I think they're going to miss him for sure. Zagadou, obviously you need that center back depth, which they're probably going to miss a little bit with having him out. And then Roman Bürki, I think, is very interesting. I've heard a lot of Dortmund fans say that he hasn't been playing very well. So I don't know how much they're going to miss him. If he's genuinely been playing poorly, the fact that he has a shoulder injury shouldn't really change things that much, because they do have a pretty decent backup keeper. So I don't think that's that big of a deal. But maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not really understanding the situation here. But yeah, they do have quite a few injuries. I think they're definitely going to miss Axel Witsel for sure. They do have a lot of good players, of course, like Erling Haaland, Jadon Sancho, Marco Reus, Mats Hummels. Just a lot of, like, Rafael Guerrero, Julian Brandt. Like, the whole team is really good. But I just don't think... I feel like as a team, they're a little bit disjointed. They're a little bit in a weird period, of course, after sacking their manager. They don't seem to be doing very well. I just cannot see them winning against the Sevilla team that has been in amazing form, that has made an incredible signing. Even with the few injuries that Sevilla has, I feel like it's a no-brainer to predict Sevilla to go through here. So I'm going to predict Sevilla winning this by a reasonable margin. I think they're going to win pretty convincingly. So that's my prediction for this matchup. Okay, so the next matchup here is going to be... I don't know if it's interesting or not. I don't know enough about this team. So FC Porto versus Juventus. So bit of an interesting matchup, I'd say. So looking at Porto right now, they're second in Liga NOS, or Primeira Liga, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the actual name of the league is, but the Portuguese league. They're 7 points off of Sporting, who is number 1 on the table, and they're actually have a game in hand compared to Porto. But yeah, so in their last 5, they won 2, and then they've drawn the last 3 matches. So not the greatest form, but still pretty good. So they seem to be doing decently, I guess. Not great, but decently. Looking at their injury list, they're missing Otavio, who I know is a pretty good player. So, I mean, I don't know how important he is or impactful, but I know he's a decent player. So that can't be good, I guess. They're missing Nanu. And Ivan Marcano. I don't know too much about these players, but I'm not seeing an expected return for any of them, so I'm gonna go ahead and guess that none of them will be there. I'm just gonna presume that, even though that might not be the case. And then so I don't have too much to say about Porto because I just don't know enough about them. I know they have some good players, so there's that, I guess. I know they actually have a Liverpool player with them, I think. Maybe he'll get some minutes, but I think they're a decent team, but we'll talk about Juventus first, and then I'll talk about my predictions. So looking at Serie A table, Juventus are 4th right now. They're 7 points off of Milan. Actually, they have a game in hand compared to Milan, to be fair, but they're pretty far behind. Looking at their form, it's been pretty hit or miss. They lost a match, won 3 matches, and they lost their most recent match. So I'd say, again, decent form, pretty good. Kind of hit or miss, but still pretty good. They've definitely been struggling a lot. For a team that has dominated Serie A for, I think, 9 years running now, I think they're starting to crumble a little bit. Which is obviously not a good thing. Looking at their injury list, they're missing Paulo Dybala and Arthur, who, in my opinion, are two of their biggest players. I mean, probably, I don't know, top 5, top whatever. Like, they're big players, to miss. I know they haven't been having the greatest seasons, but if you I don't know, I feel like they're those players, like, if they're in the right kind of, like, groove, like, they can really be incredible. So missing them for a game, even as substitutes, is very, very bad for them, I think. Again, I'm not seeing an expected return date for either of them. I'm just going to go ahead and guess that they're going to be out for this match. Juventus still have a lot of good players, though, obviously. You have Szczesny, who's a good keeper. You have... Who else do they have, man? Let's think about this. You have what? De Ligt, who's pretty good. You have... Oh, yeah, Ronaldo. Yeah, you have Ronaldo. That was a joke, by the way. I know more players than that, but yeah, so you have some pretty good players on this team. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go ahead and take the safe route with this match. I'm just going to say Juventus because I just think they have more quality in their team. I think their forms are pretty similar. But I'm just going to go ahead and predict Juventus because I just feel like they're just the better team in terms of talent. So I just think, I think an upset could happen, but I just don't see it happening, to be honest. In my eyes, I just don't think it'll happen. Okay, so our next matchup here is going to be Chelsea versus Atletico Madrid. Pretty interesting matchup again. Anyway, so Chelsea are in pretty good form right now. I mean, they lost a game, drew a game. They've won their past 3 games. Obviously, they sacked Frank Lampard. Now they have Thomas Tuchel, and he's been doing pretty well, to be honest, with the team. So, I mean, that's a good sign, of course. Their new signings like Timo Werner, Kai Havertz have been having some trouble integrating. I guess Ziyech as well. I think Thiago Silva's been doing pretty well, though. So yeah, they're fifth in the Premier League right now. So doing pretty well. I mean, 1 point off of Liverpool with a game in hand compared to Liverpool. I mean, they're really looking like they might secure a UCL spot for next year as well. So great turnaround for them. So they're in pretty good form right now. Looking at their injury list, we have Kai Havertz out with an unknown injury. No expected return as of now, according to the transfer market at least. So I find it hard to say that's a big miss, but it's definitely better to have him on the squad rather than out. I've just realized that Kai Havertz is 15 years younger than Thiago Silva. Jesus. Yeah, according to this, Thiago Silva is out with thigh problems. So if he's out for that match, that's a big loss for them because obviously they're, he's a big part of their defense. So if he's gone, that's a big miss for them. And then Charlie Musonda Jr., I don't think that's that big of a deal, them missing him. Oh yeah, wait, he's been out for the whole season. Never mind. So if Thiago Silva is out, that's a really big miss for them. I guess we'll talk a little bit about Atletico now. So Atleti is number 1 in La Liga, 6 points off of Real Madrid, with 2 games in hand compared to Real Madrid. They won 3, drew 1, and then won another one, their most recent match. So they've been playing really well. They've been kind of hit hard by the virus, though. If you can take a look, basically Moussa Dembele, their new signing, Thomas Lemar, Hector Herrera, João Felix, are all out. João Felix's expected return is tomorrow, so I mean he'll probably be there for that match, but he might not be fit, which is tough for them for sure. I don't know when exactly this match is happening. Let me take a look again. That match is happening February 23rd, so he'll have like around a week to get fit. So I don't think that's that big of a deal for them. Jose Maria Jimenez out with a muscle injury as well. If he's not back, that's a big deal because he's, from what I gathered, he's a big part of their defense. So that's, that might be a big deal if he's out for that match. And obviously Kieran Trippier got suspended for match fixing, and he won't be back for another 2 weeks. So I'm pretty sure he's going to miss both legs possibly. So that's not great for them, for sure. But yeah, even with all these injuries, I just feel like Atletico are just in incredible form. In my opinion, top three team in Europe right now, next to maybe Man City and Bayern. So I'm going to go ahead and predict Atletico to come through. I just think they're in such great form. They've just been having such a great season. Obviously, players like Luis Suarez, Jan Oblak, Koke, Saul. And then you have so many players like Carrasco as well, who's been doing really well. Like, just so many great players. I just can't see this team losing. So I'm going to go ahead and predict Atletico Madrid to win pretty convincingly, but there's a chance that Chelsea could put up a fight. Okay, I think another pretty easy match to predict. We're looking at Lazio versus Bayern. Looking at Lazio on the Serie A table, they've won their last 5. They're sitting at 6th, though, so they weren't doing too well at the beginning of the season, I guess, but they're in really, really good form. They're tied with Napoli right now in terms of games played and points, although their goal differential is much worse than Napoli's. But, they're looking like they're, about to break into the top 4 if they keep continuing, which is really good for them. Looking at their injury list, they're missing Luis Felipe and also Thomas Strakosha. I know Strakosha is their first choice keeper, so missing him for the match would be a really big deal. Again, I don't see any expected return date. For Luis Felipe, I see he'll be back March 19th, so I don't think he'll be able to play either leg as far as I'm aware. I don't know when the second leg is, but at least for the first leg, he won't be there. I don't know how important he is necessarily, but I guess it's never good to miss players, is it? So I know for sure, though, that missing Strakosha, if he does end up missing the match, would be a big deal for them. Just because obviously he's a good keeper, so you always want a good keeper on the team, so missing him would be a big blow to the team. So that's obviously important to keep attention on. Obviously, Lazio has some really good players like Ciro Immobile, Luis Alberto, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, I think that's how you say his name. And they also have some other players. I'm not gonna name every single player, but I do know they have some pretty good players on this team. So they are a decent team, but even considering their form, again, I'm not gonna make a prediction just yet. We're gonna talk about Bayern Munich in a second. Actually, we'll talk about them right now. They've won their last 5, so they're basically in identical form, but they're top of the table in Bundesliga, 4 points off of RB Leipzig, 4 points ahead of RB Leipzig, I should say, and they have a game in hand compared to them, so they're absolutely demolishing Bundesliga. They're about to sign Upamecano. Jesus, bro. This team is just unreal. Looking at this team, their injury list, Alexander Nubel, their second choice keeper, has been out. I don't think that's that big of a deal unless Neuer gets injured. Thomas Muller has the virus, so that could play a factor, but I just don't see it playing that much of a factor. If he misses the match, okay, that's not great, but I don't think missing Muller is going to change the outcome of this match at all. Goretzka will be back in 2 days, according to this. He's been having calf problems, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. Goretzka's already 26. Wow, okay. Serge Gnabry, pulled hamstring, possibly could be out for the match. So again, definitely a a bit, I guess a big miss for this team, even though they do have a lot of other wingers like Douglas Costa, Sane, Coleman. Like, any one of those guys could fill in for Gnabry, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. So yeah, even with the injuries, I guess we should go through the suspensions as well. So Jerome Boateng out on special leave. He'll be back in 2 days according to this. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but yeah, he's been having some personal issues, so I can definitely see him maybe even not playing this match, because he's been going through some stuff personally. If you guys want to know more about it, you can look it up, but I'm just, out of respect, I'm not going to talk too much about the situation with him. But he's been gone, so there's a chance he doesn't play. I don't know. And then Bright R.A.M.B., I think that's how you say his name, I don't know. Indirect card suspension, I don't think that matters at all. I don't think they're going to use him. But yeah, even through all these injuries and suspensions that Munich have, I'm just gonna go ahead and say Bayern Munich are gonna win this. Again, I think the top three clubs, like I said, Man City, Atletico Madrid, and Bayern Munich, have just been destroying Europe right now. And I just feel like they're definitely going to advance in this, at least in the round of 16. So I'm going to predict Bayern Munich to have a comfortable lead and move on, even though Lazio is a decent team. Okay, so this next match is probably one of the most interesting matches at this point, I think. That's going to be Atalanta versus Real Madrid. So let's talk a little bit about Atalanta, I guess. So they just lost Papu Gomez. He was having some issues with, I think, Gasparini. I think that's their manager. Possibly. So they shipped him out to Sevilla. So that's a big loss for them in terms of quality. Obviously, I think, in my opinion, he was their best player. So losing him is definitely not going to be easy. They do still have some good players, though, of course, like Zapata, Ilicic, I think Gosens, I think that's how you say his name, I don't know. They still have some good players, of course, but losing Gomez was definitely a big blow. Right now they're sitting 7th in Serie A, 40 points, I guess technically tied with Napoli and Lazio in terms of points, but Napoli and Lazio both have a game in hand. So there's that, I guess. They're just outside the top 5, so I guess they're not doing too well right now. But they're doing okay. I mean, looking at their recent form, actually, they drew a game, won a game, lost a game, drew a game, won a game, which is their most recent one. So they're in kind of pretty shaky form. I don't know if that's because they lost Gomez or for other reasons, but yeah, they're in kind of shaky form, I guess. Looking at their injury list, they're missing Hans Hateboer. I don't know how to say his name, but I know he's a pretty decent player, so I guess that's a big miss for them. Rafael Tolai, okay, he's suspended in Serie A, so I don't think that matters for Champions League. And then Joachim Miley. I'm so bad at pronouncing these names, man, but their injuries don't seem terrible, to be honest. I don't know how good these players were for the team or how impactful they were, but I know they're not like the best players on the team or anything, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But yeah, and then looking at Real Madrid in the La Liga standings, they're second, 6 points behind Atletico Madrid. Again, two games more than Atletico Madrid. They've been in pretty good form, though. They won a game, lost a game, and then they've won their last 3. So they've been in pretty good form, to be fair. They did lose to that third tier, like Spanish team or something like that. I forgot the name of the team, honestly, but that was crazy. And then looking at their injuries, this is very interesting. They're missing a lot of players, Missing Rodrigo, who'll be back March 26th, so he won't be here for, I don't think, either of the matches. Sergio Ramos, torn meniscus, will be back April 8th. That's a big miss for them. Huge miss, to be honest. Daniel Carvajal, no expected return date. Eden Hazard picked up another injury, will be back March 12th, so might be there for the second leg. I'm not 100% sure. Lucas Vasquez, also injured. I know he's been decent, at least for the team. Marcelo is injured until March 5th, which is bad because I'm pretty sure he did have a really good game recently, so he seemed to be in good form, so picking up an injury like that is not great. Eder Militao out with a knock, apparently. I don't know what that's meant to mean, but no expected return date as of now. And then Alvaro Odriozola, I think their second choice right back, out with a hamstring injury. So a huge list of injuries for this team. I just feel like, you know what? I'm going to say it. I think there's going to be an upset here. I think even Atalanta, without Papu Gomez, I'm going to say Atalanta win this matchup. And the reason I say that is because after seeing Real Madrid versus Man City last year without Sergio Ramos, I just feel like their defense looks super shaky. I just feel like I just saw a lot of laziness in the defense last year in Real Madrid without Sergio Ramos. I just feel like he's such an important player in the back. And then obviously they're missing a lot of other defenders as well. I don't know. They're even missing Militao, so that's another player they're missing. So they're probably gonna have to play Varane and I don't know, like Nacho Fernandez or something like that. So I don't know. I just have a feeling that they might lose this game, especially to Atalanta, who are a team that have some pretty good attackers like Zapata and Ilicic who can score goals. I have a feeling that they really could definitely lose this game. I think even Courtois has a mistake in him every once in a while. I thought, you know what, I have to spice things up a little bit. I think my predictions have been a little bit lackluster in terms of spicing things up, so we'll spice it up. I predict Real Madrid to get knocked out in the round of 16 by Atalanta. I might have to eat my words. I think there's a high chance I will eat my words, but I think looking at this injury list, there's a very high chance that this team ends up getting knocked out. So my prediction for this is going to be Atalanta. Possibly close, possibly not close. It really depends on what kind of Real Madrid shows up. Based on what I've seen against Man City last season, I think losing Sergio Ramos is just an incredible blow to the team, and I just don't think they can come back from that. Okay, rounding out the round of 16 matchups is going to be Manchester City versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think this might be the easiest prediction. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. I think Man City's winning 100%, especially given their most recent result against Tottenham Hotspur. They just thrashed them 3-0. İlkay Gundogan just won Player of the Month, I think. This team is going crazy right now, bro. I don't even know how long their winning streak has been, but I think they've won like maybe 14, 15 matches by now in a row. Incredible. Like, I've never seen anything like, well, I mean, I haven't been watching football for that long, but I'm pretty sure they broke a record or something like that. So they're in incredible form right now. They've won their last 5, of course. They're 7 ahead of Man United on the league table. They're 53 points. They have a 1 game in hand compared to Man United. They're just destroying the league right now, to be honest. They're in great form. Ruben Dias has been really good for them as well, and has basically revived John Stones' career. It's so crazy to me that somebody like Aymeric Laporte, in my opinion, one of the best defenders in the world, is getting benched. That just tells you how good this team is, man. The fact that you can bench a player like that, and they're missing Aguero, and they're missing Kevin De Bruyne, and they're still continuing this winning streak. I think it just shows like how deep this team is and how good they are. So looking at their injury list, Nathan Ake out with a hamstring injury, Kevin De Bruyne out with a hamstring injury, Felipe Sandler, I don't think that's that big of a deal, but Kevin De Bruyne is going to be a big miss, of course, but I think they'll be perfectly fine without him. To be honest, they seem to be doing well without him, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then Nathan Ake, obviously, like a rotational player in defense, but I don't think they're going to miss him that much. And then Sergio Aguero, I guess Sergio Aguero he's healthy according to this, but I don't think they even need him, to be honest, at this point. Looking at Borussia Mönchengladbach, I think they're a pretty underrated team. They've not been in the greatest form. They're 7th in the Bundesliga right now. In terms of form, they won 2, drew 1, lost 1. They drew their most recent match, I think, against Wolfsburg. They have some good players, of course, like Jan Sommer. I don't know how good Dennis Zakaria has been this season. I know Florian Neuhaus, a target that apparently Liverpool's looking at, according to reports. I hope we get him, but yeah, they have some decent players, of course. There's more players than that, of course. I'm not going to name every single player, but I do know more than players than that, guys. But yeah, they have some pretty good players, but again, man, I'm going to actually just take a look at their injury list, because why not? no big players are injured as far as I can see here. I mean, they have quite a few injuries, but I don't really recognize the names of any of these players, so I'm gonna guess that none of them are super important to this team. I'm seeing Florian Meyer, Jordi Bongard, Alper Arslan, Christian Theo Haraus, Famana Kizera, Noah Oke Eyawo. I've never heard of any of these players, so I'm going to guess that none of these guys really matter, to be honest. So I don't think it matters whether they're in fully healthy or not. I think Man City's just going to batter them, to be honest. I think Man City are in the best form out of any team in Europe this season. I just don't think there's any chance that Borussia Mönchengladbach can win this, unfortunately. So, yeah, I think this might be the easiest prediction. I'm going to predict Man City to go through. Even though they've choked in recent years, I have a feeling this season is different. I really think this season might be the one where they win it. So, yeah. So those have been my predictions for the UEFA Champions League Round of 16, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, it's been a bit of a longer video. I'll try and cut it down, I guess. But, yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the injury list of all these teams and, their form and where I think they're going to end up. Well, I mean, not where they're going to end up, but if they're going to win or not. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, I guess. Let me know if you want to see more content like this. I am trying to get more into football, so I am quite interested in this type of stuff, so maybe I'll do more videos of this kind in the future. Keep an eye out for the next FIFA 21 Barcelona Career Mode episode. It's coming soon. I just hate editing, so it's in the works right now, but yeah, it'll come out soon. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Peace.